All right. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSDMode podcast real estate tip, where every single week I come to you with different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done inside your real estate business. And today we're here to talk about the 3 keys to growing and building a successful real estate team or a successful real estate brokerage. The process overall is the same, even though the models might slightly be different. And look, there's a lot of brokerages that we see out there that kind of run a hybrid model where they've got the traditional brokerage side, they've got kind of a team side where they're also delivering leads. But the overall foundations, the overall fundamentals to building a team or a brokerage are identical. And that's what we're here to break down in this podcast here today. So whether you are a team leader, whether you are a brokerage owner, or maybe you're an individual agent, but you are aspiring to, in the future, go out there and build a team or a brokerage, we're going to break down the secrets, if you will. There's no secrets out there, but I should say the keys to success that most get wrong. And this is why most truly struggle. All right, so before we jump into these 3 overall things, and these 3 overall things that we're going to break down and do a deep dive in here today, and I'm going to show you examples of these. We're talking about recruiting, we're going to talk about onboarding, and we're going to talk about ongoing training and support. All 3 of these things you must nail to go out there and, again, build and have a highly successful team, highly successful brokerage. But there's a few things that we have to make sure that we have in place before we start talking about and getting these other 3 things in depth here, these other 3 components. All right, so these are okay. We got to make sure our tracking system is in place. So just like, if we're an agent, right? Like we got to make sure we're tracking our numbers. Just like any business owner, if you don't know your data inside your business, you are going to experience insane resistance. You are going to experience a lot of pain tracking your numbers, tracking every essential KPI inside your business, key performance indicator. In case you don't know what KPI means, you're unable to go out there and make smart strategic decisions. You don't know what's working, what's not working. So as an example, maybe with my onboarding, I recruit a new agent in. Okay, and then we're trying to do things in our onboarding phase because the onboarding phase exists to go out there and get your agents to start producing. So they're leading to average agent production, right? Okay, well, if we're implementing new things, well, how do I know if those new things are working and actually moving that needle forward? So I need to track certain things like, okay, how long is it from we bring on an agent that just signs with our team or signs with our brokerage? How long are they in onboarding phase before they start contributing to average agent production? Is that 3 months? Is that 2 months? Is that 4.7 months? Okay, well, I'm implementing, these new things. Okay, well, is it moving the needle forward? Or are you just adding more complexity to your business, more complexity to your agents, just more things to your plate and to your team's plate, your leadership team's plate, your staff's plate that is not moving the needle forward, and it's just wasted time. We need to know these things. So you got to make sure that you are tracking and have your tracking systems in place. Then from there, you got to make sure that your processes and systems are dialed in. So your processes are just the step-by-step actions that you must be taking, or that you, your staff, your agents must be doing to go out there and get the desired result that you want them to get. So processes are just, hey, what's step 1, what's step 2, what's step 3? It's taking the knowledge out of our head, putting it on paper, and then putting that process into a system. The way I like to think about this is, okay, if you think about a cookbook, the cookbook is the system. The recipes inside that cookbook are the overall processes. So like here, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, if you're seeing the video element, I'm holding up my operations manual. So inside here, this is my company cookbook. Inside here is every one of our step-by-step processes that we follow in anything that we're doing, right? So from staff side to, your agent side, all of those things, because look, the reality is if you do not allow your people to be able to be resourceful, you are going to become the only resource. You are going to become the got a minute person. Oh, hey, Josh, got a minute? Hey, Josh, got a minute? Dude, I don't have a minute. And then it feels like we get to a point where we're starting to feel like maybe we're running adult daycare here, whatever. And our people start to drain us. Well, that's our fault as leaders, because we have not given them a place to be resourceful. So if you don't have your systems and processes dialed in, I don't care how great the people are that you are bringing on. And again, we're talking about staff and also your agents. If we don't have those great processes and systems out in that they can plug into, they can never show us their greatness. Okay. And then the third thing here is strategy, right? So you got to make sure that you have the right strategies in place. And strategy is just your overall effective plan. So we got to make sure your tracking system is in place, process and systems are in place, and you have the right strategy for that right element of your business. Those are kind of these three things, I don't care if you're an individual agent, team leader, broker owner, these three things are essential inside of all of our businesses. These are kind of the foundations, the fundamentals. If we don't nail those, like nothing else is going to matter. Okay, so we got to have those in place. Now let's jump into recruiting, onboarding, and then training and overall ongoing. So ongoing training and support, right? So the three different buckets that we're breaking down here, getting the three different keys to growing a successful team or a successful brokerage. Now, real quick, before we start breaking these down, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, brokerage owner, which assuming if you're listening to this podcast right now, or watching this podcast, that is you, right? And if you are struggling inside your real estate business, maybe your business is down, maybe it's stagnant, maybe it's growing, but just not at the pace and the rate that you want, and you don't know exactly what to do to grow your business, to get to your potential, to get to the goals that you know that you're capable of accomplishing. I invite you to schedule a 100% zero pressure, 100% free Zoom call with me personally. Well, here's what we're going to do on this Zoom call. It's going to be an hour-long call. We are going to break down what you are currently doing. So first off, we're going to break down what your goals are, where your business is at right now, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing, what your current biggest obstacles are. Then from there, I'm going to walk you through what my personal recommendation is for your overall strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, and also profitable manner. Then at the end of this, just because I don't want to have any surprises here, yes, I'm going to spend a few minutes at the end of this walking you through my coaching program and seeing if it's a possible fit for you. And look, whether it is or not, I can promise you that this Zoom call, this strategy call, will be massively beneficial to you, whether you ever do business with me or not. You have my word on that. The only thing that I ask is if you book this, like I'm going to pour into you, I'm going to show up. I'll probably be 5 minutes early. And I'm going to pour into you, and I'm going to make this a massive, massively valuable use of your time. The only thing I ask is that you show up, right? If you no-show me, now you're going to have a reschedule link. I understand that things come up and you might have to reschedule the day before, maybe you get sick or something, something comes up, you can reschedule. But if you no-show me, I'm not going to allow you to book a second call with me, right? I can't, I've got a business I'm running. I've got a family. So all I ask is that you show up. And I promise you, I will make this extremely impactful for you. So if you're interested in that, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. So this is GSD Mode podcast. This is a Zoom call, right? So www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Highly encourage you and highly invite you to go out there and schedule your call with me, your Zoom call with me today. Okay, so now let's jump on in. We're going to be breaking down recruiting, onboarding, and overall training and support. And we're going to break these down individually. But if we start looking at all three of these, it's like, okay, we got to recruit agents in, right? Like that's just like when we were in the working as agents, right? Or if you're still working with agents, but you're simultaneously trying to grow your team or brokerage, right? Okay, we always got to make sure that we're recruiting in, buyers and sellers. And, so we got to make sure that we're recruiting agents because you're going to lose agents. It's inevitable. I don't care how tight your shit is inside your business, and how amazing your company is. You are going to have a churn rate. It's just going to happen. And your churn rate is, okay, how many, what's the percentage of agents that are leaving year over year? You're not going to retain them all, right? So to continue to grow, we got to make sure that we are recruiting at a faster rate than we are losing agents inside of our organization. And then based on what your overall goals are, your monetary goals, that's going to determine, how many agents you need to bring on over time. And then you get to a point where, okay, maybe you're at 100 agents and then your churn rate is maybe 20%. Now, average industry churn rate, just so you guys know, and this is the amount of agents that leave yearly on an annual basis, and whether it's because they're getting out of the business, they're retiring, they decide to switch brokerages, maybe they're not achieving their goals, and instead of looking in the mirror and saying, hey, maybe it's my fault, it's a lot easier to blame the brokerage or the team, for their lack of effort, whatever the reason may be. Or maybe, look, you're just shitting the bed and you're not leading them well and not the right fit for them. Average is 30%. So let's just say yours is better than average and your churn rate is 20%. And you got 100 agents right now. Well, if you do not recruit one more agent for the next 12 months, Okay, well, by the end of this year, you're going to be at 80 agents. So if our goal then is to maintain 100 agents, right? Well, then from there, okay, we got to be recruiting at least 20 new a year. Not saying new agents, I mean new to the organization, whether you're going after new agents or seasoned agents or whatever your recruiting strategy is. But we got to make sure that we're at least replacing those that are leaving. Now, if I wanted to grow as an example, if I wanted to grow to 120 agents by the end of this year, and I know that my churn rate is 20%, well, then I don't need to recruit 20 agents. I need to recruit 40 because I know I'm going to lose 20, but I want to have a net, net at the end of the year, a net, agent count of 120. And this is why, again, tracking is so important because it allows us to plan effectively. When I'm tracking, I want to know, how much energy and effort it takes to recruit on an agent. I want to know how long they're in onboarding phase for until they start contributing to average agent production. I want to know what our average agent production is per month and what our average company dollar is per month. And then how long are they with us on average before they leave for those that do leave? And what's the percentage that do leave? So now I can identify what my overall lifetime value is of an agent to my organization, and I know what my replacement rate is and what I got to do for growth strategy. But that also allows us to understand things like, okay, if you want to get out of recruiting at some point in the future, well, how can you know how much to compensate a recruiter if you don't know what your lifetime value of your agent is? Like, these are all important things to know, right? So obviously recruiting is really important. And I'm here to tell you it's probably going to take a lot more agents than you are thinking in your head, than you are anticipating to go out there and hit your goals, right? Because you're going to have, you go out there recruit agents. Like it's very, very difficult to identify and know upfront who's going to make it or not make it. Can't tell you how many times, okay, I went out there and I've recruited with somebody I thought was going to be an absolute badass. Maybe they dominated their industry before, they were in a different field, before they got into real estate, and they were absolute badass and absolutely, stud at sales or, whatever that is. And I'm like, oh man, this person's going to crush it. I bring them in and they end up being a complete dud. Right. Never produce a damn thing. And then I've had the flip side of that where I'm scratching my head thinking, oh man, did I make a mistake? I'm bringing this person in, and then they surprise the hell out of me. Everybody interviews well for the most part. Nobody's going to come in and be like, well, I'm pretty mediocre. Yeah, I mean, most of the days I sleep in, I show up late, and I really don't like to work hard. Like typically people aren't going to interview like that, right? It's, oh, I want this, I'm committed, blah, 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 blah. Words are hollow, actions show what we truly value. Like, so you're going to have those where, it ends up breaking down to, okay, you got your top 20% usually, you got your middle 60% and your bottom 20%. So it's just recruiting becomes the name of the game. Now, when we recruit in, though, when we bring them in, okay, we got to make sure that we are onboarding correctly, training and supporting correctly going forward, all of those different things. But we got to make sure that your recruiting strategy overall is dialed in. And you need to treat recruiting, just go back to your days of working with buyers, working with sellers. Okay, what did you do? You probably had multiple different lead generation strategies. You were strict with your follow-up game, with your CRM, with all of that. So recruiting an agent is very similar to go out there and getting listings. Okay, I've got to make sure I've got my recruiting strategies, my lead gen strategies for, so like for me and my business, okay, we're going at, we do a lot of Indeed ads, get a lot of new agents, are people jumping into this industry from Indeed ads. Because like you and I, when we're seasoned in this industry, like, okay, if we're looking at a new brokerage or a team, we're typically not going to go to Indeed ads, right? However, those that are from the corporate world that are transitioning in real estate, that's how they're used to going out there and finding jobs. So this is going to bring in a lot more, new agents, whatever. But okay, that's one of my strategies. We have a lot of success with that. Okay, then we go after cross-sale agents. We have a lot of success with cross-sale agents, right? Then we have, some partnerships with the local schools. Have success there. Okay, well, then I'm running Facebook ads. Okay, boom, I have success there. Then, okay, I have this podcast is one of the ways I go out there and agent recruit as well, and bring in a lot of local agent recruits that become, listen to the podcast, become fans of the podcast. So just so you know, if you are in the Phoenix market and you're looking for an amazing, brokerage or team to go out there and grow and scale your business with an individual agent, team leader, or you're looking to join a team, we have all of those options. Send my real estate company. I'd love to sit down and talk with you. You can go to soldbyrevisto.com, go on to Agent Careers, can book a Zoom call with me personally. Anyway, with that, like you got to make sure that, okay, you've got your intentional strategies, but then, okay, like you CRM setup ongoing. So I've got all my, just like I would with a buyer seller, I've got my drip campaigns going into place. So we got to, okay, how are you acquiring those leads and what's your intentionality with those? And this is, again, that's so damn important to go out there and track, because I need to know how much energy and effort. Okay, how many leads and what is my overall follow-up game? So like how many leads per lead source, ends up, turning into a agent recruit hire. But then from there, okay, well, how many reach outs, how many conversations, how many appointments set, how many appointment conductions to equates to how many agent hires. I got to know what my percentage rates are. What's your met to, client sign or agent sign percentage? Like, what does that look like? So then I can start to know where I need to improve. So we got to have those things dialed in. Then from there, you got to make sure that you have an effective recruiting actual pitch, just like you did a listing presentation or a buyer consultation. The same thing when it comes to your recruiting presentation. Why is this important? And I know that this sounds kind of elementary, but if I were to sit down and go through your recruiting presentation, is it world-class, right? Is it really good? Are you going out there and recruiting? If you're recruiting under a 50% level, meaning you did your recruit conduction and you have less than 50% of signing with you, okay, your recruiting presentation needs work. And the mistake that most make is they feature and benefit sell. I'm telling you right now, agents at the end of the day could give two shits about the features and benefits. They want to go through, oh, here's all the amazing tools. Here's our beautiful office. Oh, here's our amazing freaking splits. Here's, bam, feature benefit, feature benefit, feature benefit, feature benefit. They do not give a shit, right? So what they care about is that when you're with an agent, they're experiencing, if they're looking, if it's an agent already established, right? Okay, they and it doesn't matter if they're brand new and looking for a brokerage, or whatever. It's all the same process. But it comes down to, okay, they're experiencing pain with their current situation. They want to get out of that pain. They want to get to pleasure, meaning making their goals a reality. So how you effectively recruit is to be able to identify the pain and pleasure, right? You build the gap, you create the gap, right? You get them to become problem aware. You get them to admit that they need to change and admit that it's time for a change, right? Then you articulate that you have the best plan to get them from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. And if they can perceive and visualize and believe that you have the best plan and can provide the best overall environment to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, you are going to crush it and be victorious when it comes to recruiting. Then from there, okay, I'm going to spend, if I do an hour-long recruiting presentation, 50 minutes on just that. The last 10 minutes, I'll go through features and benefits. But when I'm going through features, all the things that we offer and all of that, when I'm going through those, I'm speaking specifically how each one of those things can solve their specific problems. Because at the end of the day, they do not care about your fancy office. They do not care, we think that they care about this stuff. But at the end of the day, what do they care about? They care about solving their own problems and getting to their own goals. Most that I say recruiting, they don't even tap into that. They're just like, oh, look how freaking dope we are. We're the awesome. We're the best. They don't give a shit, right? It's it's with them. What's in it for me, right? So the more that you can understand that, the more successful we're going to be. Okay, so we got to go out there and understand what our recruiting strategy is, have that dialed in, always be refining that, always be building that out. Now let's talk about onboarding. So now you recruit them in. Okay, then what? Right? What are you doing then? What step one? So the whole purpose of onboarding. And when I talk about onboarding, this is the phase of bringing them on till they start contributing to average agent production, AKA they start doing deals and bringing in revenue into the organization, right? And obviously they need to get paid. They need to make their commission checks, but bring in, company dollar. And that is your onboarding phase. Okay, what are your steps to get them from where they're, to get them dialed in with that? What does that look like? When you bring them on, what are you walking them through? And how are you walking them through this to get them? Because how you onboard them sets the stage for the rest of their entire experience with you. So you want to dial in the onboarding. What are the things that we got to get them to know up front? What are the things that we got to get them to do? What are those different steps? So I have a 14-day, initial training process that we bring all of our agents through. So step number one, we've got our agent playbook. So boom, when they join us, they get handed this playbook. I'll share my screen here so you guys can see this. And those of you, I know a lot of you are watching this are listening to this. So I'll explain it as we are going through here, because I know a lot of you can't see the screen here as I'm going through this. So then from here, this online university goes in alignment, with our agent playbook that we give them. But this eliminates all guesswork, right? So we walk them through, our step-by-step, and we have, our 14-day checklist of all the things they need to complete, all the things that they need to do. But we know if we get them to do these in the first 2 weeks, the first 14 days, okay, we are going to get them producing. So this is all about, making sure that they know where all the resources are at, where to go, to get the help that they need, make sure that their buyer presentation is in place, their listing presentation is in place, making sure that their tracking system is in place, making sure, that their business plan is in place. You can see these different sections here. So you're going to walk them through our business planning process, making sure that their tracking system, as I said, is in place, making sure their CRM is set up correctly. Mistake that so many teams and brokerage owners have is they're just like, oh, we'll go, log here into our CRM and go watch all their training videos. But no, like, we're going to take this on our responsibility and make sure everything's set up. So when they go into these sections, you can kind of see here, what our overall training videos look like there. So then making sure, again, that their buyer presentation is in place, listing presentation, they understand all of these A to Z, client processes, contract to close processes, making sure that their lead gen strategies are in place, making sure that they understand and dial in their, because as soon as you get busy, okay, we got to make sure their schedule's dialed in. They built this out. Like, I want my agents in that first 14 days to know what they need to do to go out there and win each and every single day to go out there and succeed. And then from there, okay, we're going to have contracts and resources, team, so these are just ongoing resources. So, it's very easy to go out there, navigate, and find all of this stuff, for overall agents. But we want to make sure that we plug them into a proven process that gets them producing as quickly as possible and eliminates every element of guesswork inside their business. And I want to make this where my obsession goes when I'm looking at this stuff is, hey man, can my 13-year-old, could I hire my 13-year-old right now? And is all of this broken down into such a simplistic, easy to follow process where my 13-year-old could come in here and go out there and start freaking dominating in their real estate business, right? This is how I can take brand new agents fresh out of school and get them making 20, 30 grand a month within their first 6 months after splits, right? Because we have proven world-class processes and systems to plug them into that eliminates the guesswork. So remember, the whole point of onboarding is to get them set up immediately out of the gate as quickly as possible so they can get on the path to making their goals a reality, and getting them to go out there and start producing as quickly as possible, right? We want to get them wins as fast as possible. So how can we go out there and get them, having deals under contract in the first 90 days, or less, right? So like, what does that look like? So making sure, so we got recruiting, right? So then we recruit them in, then boom, we plug them into our onboarding process. Then from there, we got ongoing training and support. So I was talking with a bunch of my brokerage owner, coaching clients the other day. And the analogy that I gave them is, look, you guys, and we're talking about the market right now. And this is where a lot of brokerage owners and a lot of team leaders are failing their agents right now, because they're not guiding them through the changing times, the changing markets. It's your job to make sure that your agents have the training, have the support, have the tools necessary to go out there and be victorious. Now, I can't choose, and you can't, you and I cannot control if they're going to choose to go and put in the work. We can't make people get out of bed. We can't make people pick up the phone. We can't make people go out there and take action. But what can we do? We can control, we can only control what we can control. Well, I can make sure that they know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. They have the support, the systems, to go out there and have success if they choose to plug in. So it's like, okay, thinking of us as, okay, like we're almost like in military terms, right? So, okay, like think of yourself as the general, right? Okay, then your agents are your soldiers, right? Well, are you going to send your soldiers out to battle if they don't have the right training, if they don't have the right strategy, if they don't have the right tools to go out there and be victorious? No, because if you do that, you're sending them out to battle to go out there and lose and be defeated and die, right? So no, we got to make sure that our agents have the right tools, the right training, the right support, the right strategies to go out there and create success. And yes, part of onboarding is to get that stuff in place. But then, okay, we got to make sure that we have our ongoing stuff dialed in to go out there and do that. As an example, in this market right now, this is a market about hunting, right? This is a market about playing offense, not defense. And this is the number one reason why I'm seeing people struggle in this market, is because they got accustomed to, from 2012 till middle of 2022, longest bull market in recorded history. When people come to me like, oh, I can't wait for the market to return back to normal, they're thinking like, oh, I can't wait to turn back to like it was the previous decade. I'm like, dude, this is normal. What you just got done experiencing was extremely abnormal. Longest bull market in recorded history, right? So the longest economic expansion, longest real estate expansion ever to exist since the infancy of the United States of America. So the chance or the probability of us seeing that again, very slim to none. But like during that time, okay, you could just kind of show up, you could just kind of work, you could just kind of be, consistent and go out there and make multiple six figures in this business. You could be very passive, you could play defense, and deals were coming to you. Those days are freaking gone. I got to make sure that my agents know how to hunt. I got to make sure my agents know how to play offense. I got to make sure that my agents have the right strategies to go out there and crush it in this business. And it's so easy to go out there and murder it right now. It's so easy to go out there, even as a part-time agent, to be listing a house a week right now. It's so damn easy. But most leaders do not take it that responsibility amongst themselves to go out there and make sure that their agents, their soldiers, are primed and armed with the right training, with the right strategy, with the right support to go out there and be victorious in this battle that they're fighting, this real estate metaphorical battle that we're fighting. And look, with the economy that we're in, there's times of peace, there's times of war. We just got out of peacetime. This is a time of war, right? So we got to know how to go out there and win this war, win this battle. So you got to make sure that your agents are armed for success. And then when it comes to, so that's, ongoing training. Then from there on the support side, okay, making sure, and the support will differentiate based on what your model is. Some of your support, if you're running, kind of a team model, or a traditional team, or a brokerage that's kind of like maybe you have your own brokerage, but you're still running like a team, or you maybe offer this as part of a service for your agents, where maybe you're offering like transaction to close and list it, so you have that support, right? You got your brokerage support, all of that stuff, but looking at the support of, and this is the way that I mentally frame it. And I know others, quote unquote gurus in our industry will tell you that this is a mistake. Got to think of your agents as more partners. Don't think of them as clients. I find that to be utter bullshit. I look at my agents as my clients. So my job and my staff's job is to support our clients, because I look at this of whoever pays me money is my client. And the reason why I like to look at it that way is that forces me to become obsessed with providing the best support to my clients. Right? So when I'm looking at this, it's like, okay, what are we doing to help our clients, our agents, at the highest possible level go out there and succeed? And that becomes our obsession. Now, again, I'm not, I don't get myself wound up, or I don't allow myself to get discouraged, because you're going to have a percentage of your agents that choose to not do shit. And that's just the name of the game. It's just going to happen. If you're bringing on enough people, right, you're going to have those people. It's going to be a percentage of your company. You can't control that. I can't control that. I used to just beat my head against the damn wall, be like, well, how do I motivate my agents? Then one day I realized, okay, I can't motivate people. Now I can facilitate an environment that maybe inspires more of them to then choose, inspires them to become self-motivated. So we can get an increase, but like that has to be a choice of their own. And there's different exercises, different things that we do to get them to tap into their own internal self-motivation. It's this whole, like managers say, okay, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't force them to drink. Where leaders and there's truth in that saying for sure, right? But then leaders understand that their primary objective is to first make that horse thirsty. Because when you make that horse thirsty, that horse will be begging you to bring him to the water. And then once they get there, they will drink the living shit out of that water. Okay, so my job as a leader is to go out there and make my people thirsty, man. How do I do that? Leading by example, right? You do that by okay, understanding what your company core values are, and then every single day, your highest duty and objective is to become a level 10 at whatever those core values are. Leading by example. And then there's different exercises that we can do to get our people, to understand the things that they've got to do and learn to become self-motivated in different things, right? So we can get them, self-motivated and get them to go out there and take action, with these different things. So that's what I'm talking about, training and support. So again, these are the three keys. And so what did I not say? Oh, you got to have a fancy office. Oh, you got to have the cream of the crop, fanciest systems. No. Yeah, you got to have the right processes. I don't care if those are living in Google Drive. I don't care if they're just living in a binder. If they're, like I've went from used to have that online university that I showed you. I used to have that in just Google Drive folders. Now I've got it in a fancy, custom LMS that I had custom built out. It took me like $100,000 to go out there and build it out. My average agent production hasn't went up a blip. Right now, but the processes that they're following that live inside those systems, right? Those are what matter. Those got to be spot on. Those need to be epic. Those need to be dialed in, right? You want to eliminate any element of guesswork for your agents in your organization. So if they ever come to you, like making it where nobody can ever come to you and say, "Oh, I did not succeed because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the training. I didn't have the support." No, like that then is on you, that you failed them as a leader. Right. You need to make it where the only reason they can't succeed, you almost want to make your business where it's dummy proof, right? Where there's no guesswork. There's no reason that they can't go out there and crush it and succeed unless they just choose to not do the work. So I want to make my organization where, okay, anybody that's not succeeding, all they can self-admit is, hey, I didn't succeed because I didn't do the work. There is no lack of training. There is no lack of support, right? So it's like, okay, every single Monday, we have hardcore skill set training. Every single Tuesday, we do a weekly mastermind for accountability and just learning with each other. Okay. Every single Wednesday, we do a hardcore CRM and sales training, right? Then we bring in mindset coaches once a month. Then from there, we bring in a high level, kind of lunch and learn team meeting, once a month, first Friday of every single month, right? So it's almost daily, dude. It's like, okay, now whether they show up or not, that's on them, right? I mean, if it's great value, it's great content, you're going to get the right people showing up. But I don't get 100% show rates on those. But I want to eliminate any reason as to why they wouldn't succeed, right? So we got to get those things dialed in. But all these three components need to come together. So we got recruiting, onboarding, training, and support. Make sure that you're nailing those inside of your business. And this is why I created my coaching program in the way that I did, where I just give all of this stuff to you. I walk you through exactly what I do, how we do it, why we do it, where we do it, and then give you all the resources in edible fashion so you can plug this stuff right into your business and go out there and accelerate your team in brokerage growth. So that's something that you're interested in. Again, you can book a call with me personally at www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. And as I said earlier on this podcast, whether you're interested in having help dial these things in, or if you're just stuck, if you don't know the right strategy to deploy and implement to ensure that you dominate in 2024, not just 2024, but well beyond that, to ensure that your goals are met. If you don't know what to do, if your business is struggling, I highly encourage and invite you to schedule a 100% zero pressure. I've got a very strict absolute no pressure policy. You have my word. I'm not going to hard push you into, buying crap from me. Like I said, at the end, I'm going to share you, what I have. And if it's a fit for you, great. If it's not, that's okay. We can still be friends too. I'm not going to hard press you. It's not my style at all. But what we are going to do is we're going to spend 95% of that hour together walking through, again, where your business is at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. And then I'm going to walk you through and tell you exactly what my recommendation is to do step by step for your strategy to make sure you get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. So whether you ever choose to do business with me or not, on the coaching side, I will make sure that this is a very, very valuable use of your time. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. So if you want to do that, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Or if you're listening to this at the gym or whatever, just go to GSDMode.com. Top banner, you'll see it. Click on that. All I ask is that you show up. Look, I'm going to be there. I'll be early. I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to deliver. I'm going to do my part. All I ask is that you just don't waste my time. That if you show me, I've got an Excel spreadsheet because I've got about an 89% show rate. I track everything. So if you show me, your name goes on a separate Excel spreadsheet where then if you try to rebook one in the future, I'm going to just nope. Yeah. Right. Now you can reschedule it. If something comes up, the day before, whatever, I get that. If we get sick, something comes up, I get that. You can reschedule, and just, but that's, letting me know. I'll get a notification. But if you just show me and waste my time, then I'm not willing to help you. Right. So I think that's a fair offer, fair trade. All right, you guys, we'll keep crushing it. I truly appreciate you being here, watching, listening to this. I hope that this was valuable. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. I will see you next time. Peace.